everybody. Welcome to episode 87 of Directly to You, a Fanatics 4 podcast. We're Fanatics 4, AJ, me, Parker, you. Hi, hello, Parker.
Hello.
Housekeeping. You can support this channel by going to youtube.com/Fanatics4, clicking the join button, or going to twitch.tv/Fanatics4 and click and subscribe for $4.99. What does that $4.99 get you? It gets you loyalty badges, emotes, gaming time with us, free Switch keys from time to time, access to our supporters only Discord. Our Discord is also linked in the description. You can join by clicking the link and saying hi to people, you know? If we're online and we see you, I'll probably post eyeball emojis. Parker will probably make some kind of dad joke. It'll be fun. You know?
Accurate.
How you doing, Parker?
Doing all right. In the first 30 seconds of you talking, it both reminded me of a Simpsons reference and a Family Guy reference. So we're doing all right.
Okay.
There you go.
There we go.
It was hi everybody. It's Dr. Nick was the Simpsons one, and housekeeping from Family Guy. So there you go. There's some good old stuff.
Yup.
But yeah, hey everybody, welcome back to here. Or if you're new, welcome for the first time.
Welcome for the very first time.
We talk, and you will enjoy it.
Yes, and we talk about video games that we're playing. Are you playing any video games?
You know what? I surely am. Yeah, so last week I mentioned I had a couple games like that I'd almost finished. I just needed to get knocked out. And so on Sunday, I just sat down, finished the last hour or so of Bastion. That game is from Super Giant Games or something like that. Yeah, and it's good. I played it, some beforehand and had like I said, about an hour left. And so just went through, finished it on up, and it was a good old time. I had been completionisting it the first little while through, and then once I got to a point where I had a bunch of other games to play, I was like, ooh, I'm just gonna get moving here. So there's a bunch more stuff I could go do through in there. But finished that up, and then also finished Untitled Goose Game, which I
still haven't done it. There's so many games, man.
I know. There's so many that I would like to play and will eventually play, but just haven't yet. So finished those both up in the same evening. And I enjoyed the ending of Entitled Goose Game. Again, there's still more puzzles I could do because they have some post-game stuff where you can go back and do all sorts of challenges. But finish that up, and it's fun. It's cute. Everybody loves it. But then, most of all, playing Luigi's Mansion 3.
Oh, shoot. How far are you?
So there you go. Not very far, actually. I haven't gotten to spend... I got it late. I think I got it Monday, maybe. And then only got to play it one or two evenings. So I just got Gooigi, Gooigi, but more or less, which I thought was going to be a lot sooner, and wasn't, which is fine. But I let Ashley play it for the first little bit. So we were sitting there and she was playing it, and I played a little bit too.
Co-op, or she was playing?
Well, we weren't yet. I was expecting any minute now we're going to play co-op. And then we didn't that session, and we did the next session, and now I just got Guigi. So now we finally could if we wanted to.
I haven't even touched the co-op yet.
Nope. But I will at some point.
I saw you playing it when we were playing Smash Brothers, and I was like, hey, look, Parker's playing Luigi's Mansion. And then somebody was like, hey, why don't you get him in here? I was like, Parker's not going to play Smash Brothers. He's stupid. But yeah, I played Luigi's Mansion more. I'm I don't know, maybe halfway through it. I don't know if I'm going to finish it. It's looking dangerous, man. We're a week away from Pokemon. I don't know. But... other than
sounds
that,
not out of not wanting to finish it, but just
not
that time is impending.
Time, and Terry coming out this week, it didn't look great for Luigi's Mansion, and it still kind of doesn't, if I'm being honest. So I'm gonna try. I'm gonna attempt to finish it. I want to put in a couple hours. Later tonight, I'm talking 2 a.m. or something like that. Yeah. But I'm also playing, which at the time of recording this is embargoed, but because the way dates work, it's not going to be when this goes up. I'm playing Super Lucky's Tale.
Oh, nice. So you played Hat in Time and Super Lucky's Tale, both of which are Mario-ish kind of platformer thingies.
Right. I'm kind of surprised by this game. Like, I knew nothing about it, and I thought it was just like, oh, it's just a platformer. I'm just a fox jumping around. There's not really any like story or anything like that. It's kind of like, it's like positioned more as like this epic thing where it's like your world is in ruin, and you're the chosen hero, and you get sent to this other world, and
you are the chosen fox.
Yeah, it's like. I'm like, all right, like I didn't expect that.
That's funny.
So yeah, I like the mechanics, like the like there's like Cappy and like Flood and like all that. It's like a central like this is a platformer, but this is the different thing. And the thing that I know of so far, maybe you'll unlock more. I don't know, because again, I knew nothing about this game.
Yep.
You can dig underground and burrow along the way,
Nice.
And that's neat. I want to see how they're going to use that.
That's interesting, because most times it'll be some air mechanic kind of thing, like Cappy or Flood or whatever, or like, the spin and Galaxy and all that kind of stuff. So that's interesting to have something that's underground.
Right. So far, I just used it to there's like coins that are buried under, like halfway underground, to be like, hey, you can dig here and you can pick up coins. And then the other thing that I did is you basically use dig like in Pokemon, and there's like this enemy that needs 2 hits, so you can dig under them, pop up, and then jump on them, or smack them with your tail. I mean, not jump on them. You'll probably get hurt if you do that. Don't do that.
True.
So yeah, I'm like, literally, I just got through like the tutorial stage or something like that, and then I played more Smash Brothers because Terry's out. True, he surely is. So there it is. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
We will. So Super Lucky Sale, I'm just curious, because for some reason I feel like I'd heard that it was just kind of a bland 3D platformer. Your impressions so far seem like it's, I don't know. You're like, how would you rate it compared to other 3D platformers?
I think so far, it is giving me a similar feeling that like A Hat in Time did. So like if it was a tier list, right, and bottom tier was like freaking, I mean, no offense to this game, but if bottom tier was like the 3D ukulele, and then I would put this game, and then A Hat in Time, and then Mario Odyssey.
Okay. So as far as like Switch 3D platformers.
Yeah. So it's like decent, but it's not like, it's better than I expected it to be, because I expected it to be like in the ukulele range. Yeah. Where it's like not really designed very well, but it's like kind of neat, and the characters are quirky and whatnot. Which is also a thing. There's a robot man named Greg.
Nice. I don't know why that's just a funny name for a robot, but it is.
Especially like in this world, because everything is like, you're the chosen one. I'm Greg, the robot. It's like, all right. Okay.
That's okay. So the D&D campaign.
He's like a golem or some crap, but he looks like a robot. So I'm calling him a robot.
The one-off that we had for my birthday last week, I pretty much, like, I wasn't DMing the thing. My friend Mitch was, who's been on here. But I did set up most of our characters. Like, I just asked Ashley and Chris and Steph, I was like, hey, what do you want your characters to be? And they just told me the race in the class, and I figured everything else out for them. So like, my name, first of all, was Yolgan Your Memory, and he was a big like frost Goliath kind of thing, so that was fun. And I had a bunch of hammers, so I just like bop people on the head and jog their memory was the joke. And I had just like a very silly German accent. But yeah, the other guys, it was Ashley was Aurora, the celestial ethereal mist, and Stephanie was Sana Glimtall, and Chris, I just called him Beth, which I just thought was the funniest thing, and he did not enjoy and proceeded to change his name pretty quickly. But the Greg thing just reminded me of that, because it's like all these fancy names, and some call me Tim, like
it's like, you're Frank.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's about it that we're playing. And we'll get to the Terry stuff, because I'll have some questions about that in a bit. But in the meantime, we got some news to talk about.
We sure do.
First thing we're going to go through is Doug Bowser talked to The Verge, had an interview and talked about a bunch of things, but we've got some quotes pulled from there on a couple different topics, and we like to go through these kinds of things. So Doug Bowser said, on the topic of 3DS support, He said, we continue to look at the 3DS family, both hardware and games, as a strong entry point for some consumers, and we're seeing that. As long as consumer demand is there, we'll continue to provide both hardware and software on the front. We're certainly not going to say it today that the 3DS is a dead platform. I think time will tell. We will continue to support 3DS in this holiday and into 2020.
So, like, what does he mean? Because, like, they didn't really support it. And if we're talking about, because, like, when we think, like, I'm going to support this platform, we think we're going to make new games for this thing.
Right.
And they didn't really do, what, like 4 3DS games came out this year? Maybe?
Yeah. I think that's the thing is, like, we're reading this as, or, like, when we hear Nintendo's going to continue supporting the 3DS, that exactly like you said, they're going to make new games and like they're going to keep bolstering the platform, when really I think it means more like when you have legacy software. Like, I worked in customer support for a while, and like we technically supported some older software, but we didn't sell it. So like even though technically we gave answers for it and helped out with it, it's different from actually like promoting it and that kind of thing.
Right.
It seems to me that's more what this is like, because I can't see any new games coming to this, especially after like the Alpha Dream stuff and all of that.
Yeah, and them saying that they're going to bring their handheld franchises to Switch.
Yeah. Exactly.
So to me, it just seems like, I mean, if you run out of stock, we'll send you more.
Right.
And if a customer has a question or something, we'll answer it. But I can't see it being a thing of like, there's going to be at least one 3DS game per quarter or something like that, you know?
I think too, like because they still have 3DS projections from their investors briefing, you know, going into this fiscal year, they said they were planning on selling 1 million, I think, 3DSs from March of 2019 through March of 2020, or April 2019 through March 2020. So like probably they'll just go until then, and then that's where they would tell people like, all right, we're done with this. Like, now that the bridge has been gapped and we have the Switch Lite now.
The bridge has been gapped.
It surely has. So there you go. There's something for you. But yeah, now that, you know, we've kind of the gap has been bridged, whatever. Now that that's happened, my dog's freaking out in the background. Now the gap's been bridged, I feel like, you know, they won't feel as bad at the investor briefing saying like, all right, we're killing off the 3DS now. So that, I bet that's what they're holding out for. But I'd be really interested to see if they still say they have projections at that point. Like, oh my goodness, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, like, are we going to, and freaking 2021 or 2022, are they going to be like, our projections for 3DS is 50,000 units for the year?
We're going to sell 5 3DSs, y'all.
Yeah, we're going to, in 2030, we're going to sell 2 3DSs. It's going to be great.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Mario Kart Wii still sold like 40,000 copies in the last
year
quarter.
Before that, it was like 40,000. I mean, like 100,000.
Yeah,
which is wild.
It's so funny, but I mean, yeah, that's still, you know, it's still selling well. But I think we are kind of coming to the point of this holiday is like kind of where people that have been waiting on the Switch, well, besides the people that are tuned into what we're about to talk about, like the Joy-Con drift issues, like which that I think is making some people hold off on getting it. Just because I've been reading through some of the comments on the video that I did last week on Joy-Con Drift, and a number of people have been like, I was going to get one this holiday, but I don't know anymore. But yeah, I think just with that, I think we're getting to the point where like people are starting to, more casual consumers are starting to kind of come on board, and it's not just early adopters and whatnot anymore. But we'll talk about, actually, no, I didn't have an article on here for Black Friday sales, just because we'll probably talk about that a little bit more as we go. But the one thing I guess to mention there was that the Black Friday deal for the Switch itself is exactly the same as it was last year.
Yeah, which is wild. And I mean, it doesn't really surprise me, honestly.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah,
because like, it's still, I mean, it's selling better than it was then. So like, why?
Like, I think, yeah, exactly. They're saving their, like, that's kind of the ace up their sleeve for next year to compete with other, you know, hardware and stuff like that, which
and that kind of confirms like a thing that I talk about constantly whenever people are like, but the price of this game, is this worth blah, blah, like that whole thing. It's all determined by the market. It's if you're buying this thing, why do they need to cut the price? sales aren't favors.
Yeah.
They're a bargain. It's hey, you want to buy this thing? Fine. Oh, you don't want to buy this? What do I need to do to make you want to buy it? You know? People want to buy it, so no need to make you want to buy it, you know? So.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
so
what maybe we'll start getting like deeper discounts and stuff next year. Maybe. But like I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't.
Yeah. I could definitely see it more next year. Since we didn't get it this year, and like it makes sense again with, you know, like at this point it's still a much hotter item than the PS4 or Xbox One would be, because people know that that PS5 and Xbox the next box as what GPMPO I think says that are coming out next year, so that's, you know, people will be holding off on those guys. But also to me feels like that may not disproves, but a little bit like disproves the Switch Pro idea. Just because I don't know, maybe it doesn't have anything
generally
to do with it.
or this year, because it's definitely not coming out this year.
Oh yeah, no, definitely not this year. But it like coming out next year to like compete with the other one. I feel like their competition next year is going to be price drops, perhaps, rather than new hardware revision.
I just don't know if they even then will need that, because like the whole thing before was like, is the Switch at the right price because it's only $50 cheaper than the other consoles or whatever, right? Now these are going to be new consoles. It's not like they're launching at $300. They're going to be $400, $500, $600. So you still got the Switch sitting right there, it being a handheld, at least $100 cheaper than this other thing on the shelf, with an established library of software, versus two consoles that like their biggest selling point is like, we're the pretty thing, you know, like we're even more shiny than before, you know, more polygons on the screen.
Yeah, like, more polygons, some more Kotakus, some more The Verge, and The Verge talked to Doug Bowser. That was fun. So the next quote is regarding Joy-Con drift, which we talked about for a second there. And so Doug Bowser said, "Our goal is always to create quality products and products that ensure gamers are having a great experience. We're continuously looking at ways to improve our products as we go forward, but in the end, we want consumers to have a great experience. And if any case they're not having that experience," he said experience like 20 times so far. If they're not having that experience, we encourage them to contact our customer support groups, and we'll do our best to help them through that. That's been how we've been handling our consumers over the last few months as issues like this have arisen, and we believe that consumers are finding their way back to great gameplay experiences.
Sure. I like, he didn't really say anything.
Yeah,
there,
not a whole lot
like,
to say that we haven't already said.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like,
right.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, Joy-Con drift is a thing. Yep.
They're not going to directly address it.
Right.
Pretty much at all. Yeah. And it especially wouldn't come out through, unless accidentally, wouldn't come out through Doug Bowser or something like that. It would be like a PR thing if they were going to, but they're not going to.
Right. And it's like, I don't know, like maybe like what he did say is kind of weird, because like it's not universally true. I mean, obviously what he's concerned with is his market, and his market is America, and that's how they're handling it. But the other parts of Nintendo aren't doing that, you know? So I don't know, it's weird.
Yep. Yeah, and the last thing he talked about here is on whether we'll ever see another tiny plug-and-play retro console. And he said, "Our focus right now is absolutely on our dedicated platforms such as Nintendo Switch Lite and our flagship Nintendo Switch. I think with the gameplay experiences you saw with some of our classic consoles that we launched a few years ago, they're now available on Nintendo Switch Online, and this is where our focus will be."
So, once again, post my best pal, Reggie, what he said when he was like, "Nah, we're not doing N64. It's going to be on Switch, Nintendo Switch Online. That's the thing. That's where we're going." And everybody's like, yeah. But N64 Classic, though. See, this is Nintendo's way of saying N64 trash. We don't want to put a retro console out for that. Also, like, I don't like. It just seems like too much at that point, where it's like, all right, here's the N64, and then 4 controllers. To get a full N64 experience, it's going to cost you like $150. And honestly, at that point, you might as well just buy a Switch Lite. It's like,
I would love an N64 Classic. It would be great.
You're a dweeb.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right that it's the first one that starts to get way more complicated than the NES and SNES do. Like, as far as, software emulation, like, not that much harder. We've got plenty of emulators, all that kind of stuff. But as far as just the hardware setup and like even just the boxing and stuff too, where like the bigger the box is, the harder it is to store more and stuff like that, I would imagine. And so the controllers are just notoriously janky. Like, I love the N64 controller for nostalgia reasons, but as far as an actual
N64 is janky, all of it.
But as far as like the actual controller goes, like, it's, that's going to be really awkward to put in a box and keep it in a form factor and stuff like that. So, and then having 4 of them, like, you would have to, for sure, the whole thing would be $100 to have 2 controllers in there, maybe, and then you would need, to spend another $40, $30 or something to get 2 more, and that's just a mess,
It's too much. It's too much.
I would still love it. I mean, as I've said, but the question then is just like what the timing will be. And I'm afraid it's going to be another, year. So like till September of this next year. And I'd really hope that's not the case, but probably is at this point.
Yeah, man. Good riddance. That's the official word from Fanatics 4. You heard it here first. Good riddance. We don't need it. Good plan. Put it on the Switch.
Put it on Switch. But what is on Switch is Smash Ultimate. We got a little thing this week. We were like 45 minutes of just Terry. No way. They must be doing something else. No, it was 45 minutes of just Terry. Pretty much.
I mean, for the record, I never said that. No, I never said it was something else. Because SNK and all that, like the King of Fighters series is a long series. Yeah. With a lot of convoluted stuff,
I loved how he started going into the history and all that at the beginning too. Like, that was just like, I don't know. The whole thing felt very Sakurai, it felt like he was having fun too, which was good.
It's the same exact format as the last 2 fighters. Yep. It's just, we got more information to go off of.
Yep. So so a bunch of stuff, and we can talk about kind of your experience with it too. I know you just talked about some of this, or a bunch of this on the Wolf Den yesterday for us, 3 days ago for everybody else. But Smash 6.0. So some of the things that happen in there are Terry's obviously in there if you pay for him, and he comes with a stage and some other stuff. So let's just start by talking about Terry. Thoughts overall?
I think he's good. Like I said on Wolf Den Live, like in regards to like tiers and stuff like that, and obviously it's early, but you know what? For the record, I've been pretty on the money with the last couple characters of where I think they're going to fall, and I think Terry is high tier. I don't think he's like top 10 or anything like that, but he's definitely in the top 20. And that's saying something for a roster of almost 80 characters.
Yeah, right.
I think that there's a lot of potential for him that maybe get in the top tier as like people optimize combos and like get good at doing like the commands and all that stuff. He has like a lot of kill confirms, it looks like, but it's just, the problem is he needs to be at a high percent to pull them off, and people need to actually fall into that. And also, like, his this is some Smash lingo, his hurt box is really big, so it's easy to combo him.
Gotcha.
So it's like, like he kind of loses his own game in a lot of instances, especially coming from somebody who plays Pokemon Trainer, and Squirtle is a thing that exists and something that I'm just focusing on more overall anyway. Like, Terry is a fun person to fight because like he just is combo food for a lot of the match.
You just knock him around.
As far as using him, he's fun to use.
I'm looking at his model right now, and like, it's just, I mean, it's a great model, but it's also really funny looking at like his arms are huge, and like his chest is huge, and then his stomach is like just a little stomach, and his face is just this tiny little, anime face. It's with long hair and stuff. So like, if you looked at just his face, you'd almost feel like, oh, it's just like a cute little high school anime girl or something, and then he's got the biceps of just 20 faces.
Yes.
Which is just funny.
So yeah, he's fun. He's fun to play as. He's fun to fight. Good addition. Take Hero out and put him in twice. There we go.
Yep. Yeah, so and he had a stage that came with him as well, and the stage is
trash,
very
garbage
different.
stage. Take the stage out of the video game. Not a good stage. It's counterintuitive to what the game is supposed to be and how you play it in terms of knocking people off the stage, because some characters are better at that, breaking that barrier and stuff like that, than others, just inherently, not because they actually won the game or won neutral or the whatever exchange you have with the other fighter. It's just that their knockback is higher, so they can kill earlier off of the thing. And it seems kind of random, like what breaks the thing and why, you know? Because like I did some labbing, another Smash term. I went into training mode and I was like, okay, what breaks this and how long does it take to do it? And it just seems like some characters are way better at it. Like I forward smashed fully charged with Charizard, who is a heavy. And it took like 4 forward smashes to break the barrier.
Up to the side, like you were like standing right next to it?
Right next to the barrier.
Man.
And it took forever for it to break.
Who
relative
are you
to someone
fighting against?
I was fighting against Link.
Okay.
Yeah, I usually put in like a middle of the road character in terms of weight to try to figure that stuff out. And it just does not seem right with like how long it takes for certain characters to do it. Whereas like a character like Ganon, he'll tap you and you're dead. You know, like it's just a dumb stage. It's not even, I don't know, like on the casual side of things, I still think it's annoying. You know, it's like I don't.
I could imagine it being great for casuals, mostly because you can't walk off or fall off or whatever. So like,
yeah, that's true.
On that side, like, so if I were playing with Ashley, this would be a fantastic
stage.
stage.
Thing about it that I do think is good in terms of casuals is that it's impossible to SD completely.
Yes, exactly.
Because you can walk off on. There are stages like this that are called
like Wii Fit stage or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
but you can't even. It's like not only can you not walk off, but you can't. Like, you know, Squirtle's side B, like how it does withdraw you can't do that. It's impossible. Even Flare Blitz, like Flare Blitz doesn't break the barrier. It's so weird. But
so it's only a character getting knocked into it that does. I mean, that's so I feel like that is good for that, you know, for like people, but just not good for competitive stuff.
But the problem then is that's only good for people that are really bad playing with other people that are really bad. But if you're playing on a casual stage, like you know, like Palutena's like what is it called? Palutena's stage. It's the big old
giant one.
Yeah, that one. Something like that kind of levels the playing field.
That's true.
This stage, if you're playing against somebody that's good, you're just going to get comboed into oblivion, you know, because like you bounce off the wall and then they're just going to punish that.
I think it's probably just a better like party stage kind of thing where it's like, it's, you know, it doesn't really matter. Like, you know, the like technique, like any of that kind of stuff. Again, like if Ashley and I are playing against, you know, if we're on a team playing against somebody, like, so that she doesn't SD at all, and then we can, you know, she can just knock them around as much as she can and that kind of thing. Like, I could see it working for that. But as far as within competitive play, ban
that stage immediately. Stage garbage.
Yeah, but in the back of the stage, we do have a bunch of people. I'm not going to go... whatever. Andy Bogard, Joe Higashi, Kim Kafwan... What? Kafwan. Sure. Geese Howard, Ryo Sakazaki, Kyo Kusanagi, Ioro Yagami. Man, I'm butchering these. Haukmaro, Nakaruru, Athena, Simaya, Rolf, and Clark, and Tockles. So there's some people, there's some Japanesey sounding names for you. Just said not Japanesey at all.
And in this week's episode of Anime Boobies Makes the Internet Mad, Mai's not in this game.
Oh, man.
Because Sakura, which apparently, I mean, that's obvious.
Yeah.
I thought it was obvious at least, but in the American version of the direct or the announcement or whatever, he said Smash Brothers is a game for good little boys or good boys and girls.
Yeah.
So Mai can't be in it. But in Japan, he said the rating. We want to keep the rating.
Oh, really?
Yes, which is obvious. Like,
Yeah,
I thought
yeah,
that
for
was the
sure.
most obvious thing in the world. And I think he elaborated on like,
Is it rated E10 plus? Is that the
here?
Okay.
Here.
Gotcha.
But there it's like something else. I don't know what.
Whatever their system is.
The rating is for them. But a big thing for the rating for them isn't even the boobs. It's specifically like upskirt shots and stuff.
Yeah.
So like Palutena was a character that almost caused the game to get delayed, which is like the main thing of like a lot of people are saying like, oh, they could adjust her and blah blah and do all this other stuff, but it's really not worth that.
Yeah,
because
right.
like you're really going to delay this DLC and upend the schedule for a character that sometimes pops up in the background. Like,
Right.
It's just like it's not really worth it.
Yeah.
And that's not even just like passing it back and forth with their ratings board. It's also passing it back and forth with SNK and saying,
Right.
is this design okay?
Yeah.
No, that's not true to the character. All right, back to the drawing board. You know,
Yeah.
it's not worth it.
And they very well might have even reached out to SNK just on the front end, being like, "Hey, can we use this character? Can we use Mai, but just completely change the model?" And they might have been like, "Nah, probably
Yeah,
not."
good. Like,
And
nope.
then Nintendo's like, "All right, then there's no way." And then that's it. You know, yeah. I think
Yeah.
it's funny that because I mean, like again, like you guys said on the Wolf Den, it's kind of lose because like people are mad on this side, but also like if she'd gotten censored, which would have been the only way that she could have gotten in the first place, then people would be like, "What? Now they're censoring
Yeah,
in
the
Smash?"
exact same like people would be upset about that.
Right, exactly. So I mean,
And
they
then
just want her
like
to be in a way that it is just impossible.
Right. And the whole upskirt thing also kind of like puts a hole in their whole argument where it's like, but Bayonetta and
Right.
Zero Suit can't look up their skirt. You know, I was like,
Yeah.
So it's a lot of it is a cultural thing and all of those stuff, which is ironic because like if it was our end and it being like, oh, but boobs, they're dangerous.
Yeah.
Then people would be upset about that, and they're like, you're affecting Japanese, like you're criticizing Japanese culture, let them be Japanese. But like actually the censorship is because of Japan.
Yeah.
From what they're saying. I mean, it also probably has a lot to do with our ratings board. They probably would be more upset about the boobs end of it.
Yeah, right. Man, it's funny stuff. But yeah, she's not going to make it. I loved the Smash, also the good little boys and girls. That bit was priceless. And
yeah, man, that's
the way that they do
localization
these
at its
direct things
finest.
too, with every, like him having a live, the people working on the video too, and other people in the room is really fun. Just because it's like, probably some of them are hearing this for the first time. They're people that work on the game and they, didn't get to hear them practice or something like that. So they just come on in and they get to laugh at all the jokes.
Yeah,
we love jokes. So. All that good stuff. And then the online, there's some online stuff. Any notable bits from that you want to point out?
So they have a mode that's no Bob allowed mode. That's what it's called. Only Elite Smash players can enter these arenas, and that's great. Because sometimes I just want to taunt Bob, Also, there was some stuff that I thought, you can only, there's a thing where you can find arenas now that are made by your friends, so like you don't have to enter the arena code, because like if you made an arena that was public, you have to enter the code even if you're friends with somebody. Now you don't have to do that anymore.
Gotcha. Okay. Interesting.
There's also another thing with now you can do random Omega and Battlefield stages, which is like random stages that are just vanilla, no platforms, and then random stages that are a version of that are also with the platforms.
Yep.
Which you couldn't do before. You could do it locally, but not online.
Right.
And then there's like small like quality of life changes with like how you communicate within the arena and how the arena communicates with the player, where it's like round one's over, you have this many consecutive wins, and so on and so forth.
That's nice. And you can send little messages that are pre-planned and stuff like that.
I can't play right now. I'll be right back. Stuff like just keep.
Where's the pizza? That kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, that message is
Everyone
number one.
is always
actually number two. I forgot what I said. Number one was on Wolf Den Life.
Who's to say? Only the past. Only the past.
They also did game balancing stuff, which Pokemon Trainer is safe. He didn't get nerfed.
Nice.
But I wanted buffs, so buff him. Not because I feel like he needs it, but because buffs are fun. They're great.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
let me be better at the game, even better.
I mean, it's always a little bit fun too, I would imagine, to have to lab stuff just for a little bit to be like, okay, so what's different about this then, and figuring that out.
Unless they make something worse, that's not fun.
That's true. What if they made one thing a little bit worse and another thing better?
Yeah, that's okay. That's cool. That's balanced.
Just even it out. Yeah, exactly.
But they did buff a whole lot of characters that are kind of trash.
Nice.
On the whole, there's always a conversation with most people, because most people aren't who it applies to when a tier list is made. Tier lists are assuming that you're as good as you could possibly be with a given character against another person that is as good as you could possibly be with the other character, given their tools. We did the Wolf Den tournament, and I got second place because I lost to a Jigglypuff. That doesn't mean Jigglypuff is a better character than Pokemon Trainer. You know, Jigglypuff on the whole wasn't a great character, but Jigglypuff got buffed. Incineroar got buffed. King K. Rool got buffed. All the bad characters, pretty much, except for Little Mac, got buffed. So that's cool. Good for them.
Good for them. And you know what? Good for us, because we got a Pokemon trailer with some little tidbits and stuff. Also, heads up, after this, we're going to talk about the leak situation with Pokemon things, but we're not going to talk about any of the leaks themselves, because you know what? I don't even know any of them.
We haven't even seen the leaks.
I didn't want to look into those. But we did get a trailer. It was the items and features trailer. This stuff, I watched it. You understand some of the bits better than I do, but I remembered something from a couple months ago. We were talking about EVs, and I was saying how I thought they worked, and you were like, nah, man, that's not even close. And I was like, wow, weird that I was so off, but I figured it out. I looked it up. Apparently, Gen 1 and Gen 2, again, obviously, super different from all the future ones. And so their system, I think I was at least very close to understanding it with those, but the idea
of Gen 1, I don't think EVs were really a thing.
So they were. It wasn't. It was stat experience boost or something like that, where it was like it wasn't EVs exactly. Yeah, it was something like similar kind of conversation. But the basic idea was pretty much the more Pokemon you fight against, the more you'd level up and stuff like that. But it only starts when you first catch a Pokemon. So I had a level, I don't know, 20 Chansey or something like that. And this is how I figured out something seems weird about this. Was I was playing at some point and I had a level 20 Chansey, then I caught a level 55 Chansey in Cerulean Cave, and as a kid I just would have swapped it out and been like, level 55, obviously way better. And then I looked at their stats and I was like, they're pretty much the same. They're barely any different at the level 55 one, and if I level up this level 21, it's going to be way better. So then I looked it up, and more or less in Gen 1, that's how it is, and it's pretty garbage.
That's still how it is. How it is. Yeah, you still start to accrue EVs when you catch the Pokemon.
Okay, so that's the thing that I was trying to explain before. Okay, so I wasn't too far off on a base understanding of something. It just wasn't fully the right thing. But yeah, in Gen 1, it was different in some regard. And I think maybe that's all that there was to it, is just it's some weird thing, and it's super simplified and all that, but it's kind of jank. So I'm looking forward to experiencing it in, Pokemon Sword and Shield stuff.
A more straightforward way that tells you everything, and you don't even have to do the EV grind, because you could just buy bunch
some candies and stuff.
Yeah, the supplements, like the carbos and all that crap.
Yep. I imagine PP ups are still limited, probably to the same amount. That seems like it's been pretty balanced for this whole time.
Though. The supplements, I'll call them, they were limited just as an arbitrary thing that okay, we got you halfway there, you got to get yourself the rest of the way. And now that cap's not on there, so you could just totally max out the 500 or whatever EVs that you're allotted.
I wonder how much that costs in game, because like in the trailer that they showed, they had like 45 of a bunch of stuff or whatever, and that seems like a lot. Like
it is a lot, but it probably won't cost that much, all things considered. Like the newer Pokemon games, I think I ended every 3DS Pokemon game with at least $2 million.
Yeah.
So it's like,
goodness.
You know, what else am I going to spend the money on?
Yeah. Revives. You keep dying, I'm sure.
How dare you?
Just kidding.
I've never died in my life.
Oh, the whole time?
Hence life, you know?
Yep. But yeah, some other things. You know what? The thing that I linked was the video and not the article talking about it. So I don't remember all the bits and pieces from it, but we're going to go through, and there was the mints as well, and those
let you change your nature, but not really. You kind of change your nature. You still, like, if you have a modest Pokemon, it's still going to be like aesthetically on the Pokemon's like fact sheet thing, it's still going to say it's modest, but it's going to give it the attributes of a Pokemon that's adamant, you know, like whatever mint you give it. Which I don't know why it does that. I guess just because, like, within the world, it just makes sense. Like, it would be kind of weird if, like, you caught a Pokemon that was docile, and then you gave it a vitamin and it's rash all of a sudden. It's like, it used to be all, like, just chill. And then, like, you gave it a vitamin and it's just, like, a freaking aggressive jerk. Like,
that's called drugs, kids, and do not do that.
Supplements.
Yeah. So
that's good.
Mints, and then the egg move thing. So explain that.
Also cool.
I mostly get that, but
with egg moves now, there's like moves that Pokemon can't learn by TM or by level up, but they still are capable of learning them by breeding with another Pokemon, and the baby gets the move. It inherits a move.
Will it always inherit? It's kind of luck based whether it would inherit it or not. It
always inherits it. If you have the egg move and it's two Pokemon that are compatible to breed this Pokemon, it'll hatch with the move.
Nice.
It'll have whatever it's like say hatching like a freaking Pikachu or something, and its first attack is like tackle, and I think maybe it has Thundershock by default now. It'll have whatever the egg move is also.
Gotcha.
Now you don't have to make an egg, because the thing that sucks about doing the egg move thing is, like, say you have a shiny Pikachu and you want to give it this egg move, you gotta like breed for another shiny Pikachu to have a shiny Pikachu with the egg move. Now you could just put the shiny Pikachu in the daycare with the Pokemon with the egg move, and it has at least the shiny Pikachu has at least one blank slot. It will transfer over the egg move.
Nice.
So that's good.
That is good. It's nice having all these options and stuff, because you can grind for some of this stuff, and I'm sure in some regards it makes it rewarding when it finally does happen. You know, there's something about that. I but is it worth it? You know,
it's like an arbitrary thing. It's
absolutely. So
it's like, because it took me a year to do this, it makes it somehow more valuable. Because it took me a year to earn $100,000. The $100,000 is way more valuable to me than the one you just gave me, or the money you just gave. You know, it's like, nah, I don't know about that, man. And the result is the result.
So all that stuff. But and then you can also access your box anywhere. Well, it says almost anywhere. I'd imagine like
anywhere,
Elite Four probably you can't. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's like if you're in a gym, you can't access your box. If you're on like a story mission situation, you can't access your box. But if you're just like exploring the world,
do you think the box, because the box heals Pokemon now, right? I mean, or before this it did. Do you think it still heals your Pokemon? Did it in? I can't remember in Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu,
it did in Let's Go. I don't know. I think it will do whatever it did in Let's Go.
I think you would have to go to the actual PC at the Pokemon Center and do that. Yeah, I think it didn't heal them, because otherwise that would be a little bit just too OP. I mean, it already is like helpful, you know, that they're in there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm very curious about that. But yeah, strong guess that probably not. Oh, and also there's candies for just experience in general. So that's a thing.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Good, man. Because you can't, I don't know if you can in this game, but typically you can't buy rare candy, so they're like limited. or you got to grind for them by using pickup and all that's luck based and all that crap. But now you can buy experience candies and crap, which is great.
You can buy them at the store. It said I didn't notice that.
I'm pretty sure you can buy them.
Cool. Okay. I just saw them. I figured you picked them up or whatever, because you couldn't buy candies in Let's Go, could you?
I think you get them when you catch Pokemon,
right?
But this is like a different kind of candy.
Yeah, for sure. Interesting. I'll be curious about that. But yeah, Pokemon, all the Pokemon stuff. So it's a lot easier, pretty much, to just like kind of turn your team into
like
the kinds
of competitive stuff is way easier now.
Yep, which is very nice. So that's good. But yeah, then the last thing for Pokemon is just that there were the leaks. They happened. Nintendo shut it down pretty quick, but not quick enough for people to still be able to go out and see Pokemon if they wanted to.
Something that is like frustrating for us is that every time something like this happens, they clamp down on review copies.
Yeah.
Which sucks, dude.
Yep.
So like,
I mean, we weren't going to get it ahead of time anyway.
Yeah, we probably weren't.
But if that was the difference between us getting it and not getting it, that would really suck.
I mean, at one point it was because brand ambassadors just across the board, if they got it early.
Yeah.
But after the whole thing with the 3DS and all that crap and stuff, it ripped it.
Man, that's just like, I don't know. I've got thoughts about this. Like I think some of the argument from one side just about it in general is people are like, well, we want to see the leaks. We want to see the Pokemon that are in this game before we buy it, so we know whether it's going to be worth it to buy it or not. I think that's like the main argument. It's like, since Pokemon Company isn't showing us everything in the game, we don't know if it's going to be worth our purchase or not.
Which is weird, man. It's weird.
I don't agree with that. Like, I mean, you can, if that's your opinion, that's totally fine. Like, that's an opinion, I guess. That's still not right for somebody to leak it. Like, that's straight up illegal. So,
I don't
and it hurts the industry as a whole.
I don't think
it's
a good argument, because it would be like to the extent of like saying, well, I'm not going to go see that movie unless I know the ending is good. That's kind of, I mean, that's theoretically, that's what like reviews are for. That's what waiting until somebody else has gotten the game that you trust is for. I think for me, it's just like that feels, I don't know. If somebody gives me a whole bunch of information okay, let's put it this way. If like on one hand, I've got a song that somebody wrote and performed and recorded, and it's like, here's this song and it's great. And like, I can't listen to that song yet or whatever. And so I'm going to decide whether or not I want to listen to that song based on somebody just like, here's all the notes for it. Just laid out. There's all the notes. I mean, you don't necessarily know how they go in there and like what organically it's going to be like, but like that's what all the notes are like. I mean, it's different than that, obviously, blah blah blah, whatever. But I feel like that's sort of the idea. Is like there's definitely an element to where presentation, gameplay, and like the way it's all strung together plays a really big part, more so than just the actual individual elements that are in it. Like or like a Bob
soup
said,
versus the ingredients. I don't know.
Bob said a couple of times, and I think he said it during Wolf Den Live. He was basically like, well, we're just seeing like these still like static images off a computer screen, right? Like there's going to be Pokemon that you see there and you're like, that looks dumb. And then when you see it in action, it's going to look way better. And I've had multiple like personal experiences like that where, like, for instance, Sceptile. I used to think Sceptile was so dumb looking because his back sprite looks stupid. But then I saw him in the anime and I was like, yo, Sceptile's pretty dope. I mean, I feel the same way. Just finding Pokemon in the wild is always more exciting to me than just seeing it. Where like, I remember, I don't know, I feel like I'd seen Baniri or something like that, or Lopunny or something, whatever, one of those bunny Pokemon. And I just like seen it independently and I was like, all right, whatever, like I don't really care. And then like ran into it in the game and I was really excited to have run into it because it was a new Pokemon and I was like, oh, and it's cool, and like, you know, find out new things about it. And then that individual thing is exciting rather than it. I mean, it's kind of like same kind of thing for just leaks in general, like Elite Direct. You get like, oh, well, here's this bit of news, this bit of news, this bit of news. None of them get to have the impact. Here's a 4chan post
Yeah.
with game titles.
Yeah, it
Exciting.
It's just not, like, I understand it, and like, especially if we know theoretically which Pokemon are in it. That doesn't 100% mean we know which Pokemon aren't, I suppose, but probably there's a good chance. I don't know. I mean, I don't know which Pokemon are in it because I didn't look at it, but
I mean, it's the same thing as the conversation that me and Logan would have about Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
Where everybody's like, well, the characters and somebody's going to leak it anyway. So it's like leaks are a deliberate decision to look at.
yeah.
Like especially now where you can like filter stuff out. Like if you looked at the leak, it's because you didn't avoid the leak.
Yeah.
Whereas a Nintendo Direct is something that, as Nintendo fans, you can't really avoid seeing information that you don't want to see.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I know from experience with things like Smash Brothers, it's way more exciting to unlock whatever, right? In the game and say, yo, I didn't know that was in there.
Yeah.
That's dope. Versus just grinding away until you find the thing that you saw beforehand and you know that you like, but you don't have it yet. It's like, it's not the same.
I don't know. I think just the whole, exactly all the stuff you said. And I know that people wanted to see this stuff. So like, I get that. But that doesn't excuse...
The thing I understand wanting to see beforehand is the legendaries, because that hinges on which version you get and all that stuff. And the starter evolutions, because for a lot of people that aren't me, they want to like make that decision and say, okay, this is the starter Pokemon I want. This is going to be my guy. I like his third evolution. That's great. Me, I know Pokemon is a game that I'm going to trade people for. So if I don't like the third evolution, whatever, what I'm picking is the one that I see and I meet when it's standing in front of me with the Pokeball there,
I mean, for what it's worth too, like I don't want to, like in real life, for example, I don't want to become friends with a kid when I'm a kid. I don't want to become friends with a kid because I know that when he's 40, he's going to be rich, something like that. Like I want to be friends with a kid because I like him as a kid. Like, I know that analogy seems maybe far-fetched, but I'd rather pick Sobble because I think Sobble's cool. And then if his evolution kind of sucks or whatever, it's like, well, that's whatever. That's this weird Pokemon I've got now. But like, I'm not picking, and I know that's completely different from so many other people. Like I'm just saying for me and
I'm not saying one way is right and the other way is wrong. I just mean like for me, I don't want to see that, but I get why people want to see those specific Pokemon. Seeing every Pokemon, I think, is like overboard. I don't think that that's necessary to make an informed decision on whether or not you want this game.
Because then too, like I think the way that we as humans like gather information, if we're given too much stuff all at once, we just kind of like make snap judgments about every little thing. It's just like the Twitter situation where so like thousands of people that you're following or whatever are making, saying all this stuff, and you're pretty much disregarding a whole bunch of it, just swiping past or whatever, because like, okay, well, that's not as engaging to me as this other stuff is. Whereas if you have to focus in on one thing at a time, like the first time you see a Pokemon or something like that in the wild, then it engages a different part of your mind, I think, than seeing all sorts of things and having to like take it all in at once. So it's disappointing to me, I think. I know maybe it shouldn't be, but it just kind of is. And like, I'm sure there's people yelling at their speakers or headphones or whatever right now. And please let me know your thoughts. And like, I mean, I'm pretty sure I saw Justin even say, and I saw a lot of other people say, but maybe even Justin, like, well, at least I know that I saved my $60 now because I saw this and know that I don't really care. The Dex didn't save it for me. So that's just an interesting stance that's just really different from mine, I guess. So yeah, I think nevertheless, the leaks themselves shouldn't have happened because it's like, it's bad for the industry, really, and it's illegal. But, at the same time, if it saved you $60 and, 6 months from now, you'll still be like, yeah, glad I didn't get that game, then cool. That's legitimately good, I guess, for you. Yeah, I don't know. I just like to be optimistic about stuff normally. So that's me.
Yeah, I just think that it's like for like most people that play Pokemon games, they're not like completing or catching every single Pokemon. They're not spending time with every single Pokemon. they're just going to catch their guys and that's it. I find it hard to believe, even if there's, and again, I didn't see the leaks, even if there's 150 Pokemon in this game and that's it.
Right.
I find it hard to believe that you can't find at least 6 that you like.
Yeah, right, totally.
And want to play through the game.
I mean, and I did see, like, I didn't see any leaks, but somebody said something that led me to believe that some Pokemon that I'd like to see in there might not be in, which is like, that's disappointing because it's ones that I would love to see in there. But at the same time, I'll get over it and I'm fine.
For me, it's just like the announcement of Pokemon Home made me not care even a little bit.
Yeah, right.
Like which I mean, we know because of official material that like Charizard, my favorite Pokemon, he's in the game. Great.
Yeah.
But if he wasn't, I don't care because I still have my Charizard. You know, like it's still going to be in Pokemon Home, and whenever they make it available to play, I'll play as cool story. So
true.
I think this whole thing is overblown. I think that the reason to play Pokemon isn't just that this very specific Pokemon is in the game or whatever. It's the whole thing of like discovering the new region and the new Pokemon in there and the new ways to play it and stuff.
Yep.
So
I agree. And I'm excited
on
for the gameplay and stuff like that. And
same.
Yep. I'm also really excited for the gameplay of Just Dance 2020. I'm not really. That was a lie. No. But it's just a funny news bit that apparently this is Ubisoft's last Wii game coming out 9 years after the Wii has pretty much died. 8 years, I guess. But yeah, I just thought that was funny. There's not even a whole lot to talk about.
Rip Wii, man.
I mean, I assume this is the last. Besides, I guess, people are still making new SNES games here and there.
Yeah, this is like when the indie scene can kick in and say like a new Wii game, right? Because right now it's like they can't really you can't make that exciting if like a big budget multi-million-dollar game is still getting released to this console every year.
That said, actually, I wonder, does the Wii probably has a lot more DRM type stuff than, I don't know, maybe not. Like, could you just make a game on,
that's true.
A disc
that's true.
and then, have it be played on the Wii? Like,
I mean, you could. I guess you could have always done that with like homebrew.
I guess, yeah. Well, because if you buy some new N64 carts or whatever that indie developers are making or something like that, you could just pop them in an old N64 and it would work, I think, without having to do any kind of hacking or whatever. So, but you think that depending on what somebody could do, they could just make new Wii games that would work on any Wiis? Yeah.
And I think the homebrew situation, it's not hard.
Yeah.
You just put an SD card in and there you go. Yep. So if the type of person that wants to buy a small quote unquote retro game that's new on their Wii, I think they don't have any problem doing it. Yeah, they'll be savvy enough to put an SD card in their Wii.
I think you are right, but
might even these developers might even put a 1 gigabyte SD card in the package that has the homebrew pre-installed, and you just put it in there and you're done.
True. That's true. And what else is true is you made a video this week.
I surely did.
You sure did. We're getting into that part of the podcast where you guys watch our videos sometimes and leave comments, and then we talk about them, and there you go.
Yes,
that's the thing. So AJ made a video on I forgot. The 3DS to Switch games. I forgot off the top of my head.
How dare you forget my video?
Yeah. And here's the first comment from Deceptijon said, would love to see either a remaster of Dementia, The Dark Ward, or a completely new game from the franchise. But a new Phoenix Wright game would be awesome on the Switch. Maybe this time they could make it all hand-drawn, up the quality of the music and sound effects, and treat it more like a darker graphic novel. I would be super down for that.
So with this, there's a couple, and I think specifically at least half of the comments that I pulled, there's going to be a lot of games that I never heard of before. Because when I was thinking of the games that I wanted to put on here, it was just the big well-known, this is very specifically a handheld franchise sort of situation, and it's a Nintendo handheld franchise. Right. Didn't even think really about the third-party stuff. So I mean, I'll get to this in a little bit, but maybe I'll do another one at some point. We'll see.
True.
I would be down for another Phoenix Wright game. I think those games are neat. I don't know what the other thing is, though.
Truly, I don't know. I'm curious, actually. Let's see. Dementia. Dark Ward. I just want to find out what kind of... Oh, I'm not looking up the right thing, apparently. I'm just looking up Dimension now. I'm just trying to find out what genre of game it is. It's straight up just not showing up. Maybe... Oh, well. Doesn't matter. We'll find out some other time. Comment in the section.
Let us know in the comments.
Let us know. Thanks to Decepticon. Curtis Marathew 58 says, a long shot to ever be on anything besides iOS and Android is Iron Maiden Legacy of the Beast game that you played on your phone. I highly recommend for you to check out It's a fun turn-based game that has the band's mascot Eddie in his different forms from each album and each release artwork of Eddie. It would be neat for it to go to the Switch. It could get a huge boost in graphics and slightly different play style to keep it fun. But I say aging this would be a long shot. But I say again, this would be a long shot. There we go.
Is it available on iOS and Android currently?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Because he did say we should check it out.
Maiden
if it's on there currently, I'll check it out.
Legacy of the Beast. Let's find out. Again, I don't know.
These are some obscure games you guys are pulling out, man.
Yeah, looks like it from what I'm seeing here. So
I'll check it out. Hopefully I'll remember and I'll report back on next week's episode of Directly to You.
Nice. Good stuff. That seems like just such a funny combination of things. Iron Maiden and turn-based battles and stuff. I'm down.
Yeah, I wonder what made that happen.
That's what I want to know.
Is it like a Brutal Legend sort of situation where they're like, yeah, we want to make this game and Jack Black would be a perfect person to do that, and then
because I could see, like Shaq Fu or something where it's like, hey, Shaq, you want to make this game where you're doing Kung Fu? And Shaq would be like, yeah, man, that's dope. But I can't, unless Iron Maiden's a fan of turn-based games, that would just be a funny thing to be like, all right, here's this thing. You're going to be fighting things and you're going to have to select from some buttons what you're going to attack with or whatever. And be like, okay.
We like to play on tour? Turn-based RPGs.
So, yeah, that's really funny. If there's a story behind that, Curtis Marathew, let us know. Jonathan Farah says, please do a part 2. Maybe next could be Metroid Prime Federation Force. Not a bad game, just the one we didn't want. Dylan's Rolling Western Dead Heat Breakers, Pushmo, a Kirby eShop collection, Kirby Superstar Ultra and Robobot, and Wario Master of Disguise.
You're gonna offend Max. He's gonna be very upset, but I agree. Honestly, about Metroid Prime Federation Force. But yeah, like I said, I'll probably do another one. I don't know if I'll do those specifically, since they're specific games rather than franchises.
Right. Yeah.
Because it sounds like what they want to do is continue them. Mm-hmm. It just so happened that a lot of them could just also be ported over. Yep. And/or they already continued them. You know?
Right. Another one that I thought of that we were just talking about in Discord actually with Chicapo and stuff was Bravely Default. That's an interesting one because they tease after Octopath and around Octopath and stuff. It seems like they really teased a Bravely Default, a Bravely Third, or a port or something like that coming to Switch, and then it never happened. So I don't know.
Didn't they say it was in 2020 they were going to talk about that? I feel like they said 2020 for some reason.
Maybe. Yeah. Bravely Default 2020. Let's see if anything immediately pops up. Yeah, I don't see anything specifically, but that's not to say that it's not possible either. We'll keep our eyes out. That seems like it seems like hopefully a given at some point, just because that would be fun. But they definitely talked about the Octopath team being interested in doing more of that variety of thing. So we're using that engine again on the Switch or on iOS for some reason. Mm-hmm. And then last comment on your video is from Eric Stefan, who said, I have an idea to make the Switch backwards compatible with the 3DS and DS games. First off, they need to make an adapter for the 3DS and DS games. You can put in the dock USB, and they also need to implement this thing on the eShop. What do you think about my idea?
I feel like I made a video along talking about something like that. Not necessarily in a hardware way, because I don't think that, for Switch it would need to be hardware because it's not Wii U.
Right.
But like I feel like they would probably mess it up because like with Wii U they had DS games, but like the most of the view and the default view of how they like promoted these games, it was just a DS on the touchscreen rather than saying like, okay, here's your screen and then here's your touchscreen in your hand and then you do it like that.
Yeah.
And I think most games that actually use like the dual screen in a way that's different from like just a map, the screens need to be too close for that to work. So it would be weird. So I don't know. I like it in theory.
Yeah.
But like for the most part, most games could just be ported over without needing to have the like dual screen functionality.
I think the problem with the hardware thing, I mean, kind of like you said, unless they find a really simple form factor where like, yeah, there's so many complications there. So either, this, especially like thinking about the Switch Lite or something like that, it would just be too small to be able to have both screens on there without it being like sideways or something like that. Like there would be a lot of issues as far as getting it to work on the handheld portion of it. And then games that you could do it on your TV, but then games that have touchscreen stuff like that would be an issue. So I think if you did it on a hardware level, that would have to assume every game's going to work with this. And that's just not going to be the case. You know, you'd end up having too many games where it's like, that one's not going to work. So I think just bringing over individual ones, like games that they can just easily put what's on the second screen in just like a little side off screen or something like that, you know, like have the main thing be in kind of a primary window and have a little box off to the top right corner that's, you know, to the right of it or something like that.
Right. Or you just do like a Splatoon situation where they rework how the game is.
Yeah, exactly. But I think at that point, you would have to port specific ones and you couldn't just bring them all over immediately.
I don't think they would do that anyway.
Yeah.
Because they're supporting the Nintendo 3DS up until or through 2020.
Yep. I mean, I think, Nintendo's MO for the most part seems to be like hold their libraries dear and then use them as like a thing later. So like they could later be like, and now here's this 3DS, you know, like use it as much as a tool as they possibly can later. Yeah, exactly. The Disney Vault, that kind of a thing.
It's not just like, oh, we made this thing and it'll be on every platform we make for forever. Yeah. It's like, we'll like release it when it makes sense.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, that's the comments we pulled for your video. And then we got comments from my video. I talked about kind of a buyer's guide for this holiday a little bit, so some games to buy and all that stuff. And I will note that we're recording this like 2 hours after that video, and it's not really the kind of video that will have a lot of comments. So here's a couple of them. But here we go. Graham Richardson said, for anyone who's interested in tracking deals and finding the best deals on Switch, I highly recommend Deku Deals. I'd attach a link, but then this would be flagged as a bot or some other nonsense. It's easy enough to look up. They're great because they price track different games and hardware like controllers or Labo, etc. And so you can see not only that something is on sale, but that it is a reasonably good sale, or even if it is currently the lowest price ever, for example, which they place in yellow, so it's easy to see that you're getting literally the best price to date. You can also add things to your wish list and it will email you if they go on sale. All in all, it's a great service.
Does this thing have an app?
That's a good question. So I actually had this in my script. I had it recorded in the video, and it was just the video was getting longer than I wanted it to be for what this is. So I had to just like cut this bit out. But I mentioned like 2 different times in little spots. Just like cut it out. But yes, that is a great point. But I don't think it has an app. I think it's just a website.
They should make it an app, because I feel like something like this would be significantly more popular and accepted if it was an app.
That is true. But it is, definitely. If anybody here doesn't know about it, Striker XL was actually the one that told me about it the first time. But it's a great place to just track your game library, like what you do have, what you want, all that kind of stuff, and them showing off what the sales are. Like, it tracks, I think, I'm curious what it's like in other countries, but I guess you just put what country you're in and it puts the main retailer. So here it's like, the Best Buy, Walmart, Target, GameStop, and the eShop and all that stuff. And you can filter really well. It's a great tool. So definitely something to be looking out for. And 100%, that's going to be super helpful at Black Friday time as well.
Yep.
So
True.
once again, DekuDeals.com, DEKU, and then my last name. Next comment, Griffinix said, if you're getting someone a Switch or know someone will be getting one this holiday, I would highly recommend an eShop gift card. I know you're covering physical games here, but digital needs some love too. So many digital games, so many digital only games for each type of gamer. Untitled Goose Game, Ori and the Blind Forest, Blasphemous, etc. With the holiday digital sales and the low cost of a lot of indies in general, even a $20 card could get you a few good games.
That's true.
Very
also,
true.
It could just be a thing of like, if they do in a situation with the like vouchers, right? Like when I went with my brother to go get his Switch, the first thing I told him, and I was like, all right, get the Switch, which like that's like the jackpot for people that want to buy a Switch, is if they have somebody that does what we do.
Yeah.
Because it's literally just like, they have the video right in front of them at all times. So I was like, no, you got to get this game, you got to get this game, you got to get this gift card, you got to buy the online and then do that. So specifically at this time, the vouchers were still active. So I was like, okay, don't buy the games, just buy vouchers. And he bought like 8 of them.
Oh my goodness.
And yeah, because he saved what, $160 doing that.
Yeah, seriously.
And he already has Pokemon because of that and like all that stuff, you know.
Yep.
So it's like, just gift cards are good to have, or eShop credit is good to have, because like there's different ways to save on stuff, because they do have like the gold coins. Like every DLC fighter that Nintendo didn't send me, I just bought with gold points.
Yeah.
So it was like a lot of the stuff is like effectively free, because like you get free money for buying games.
Yep. Yeah, that's definitely, man, it's very good. I forgot the things I was really going to say, but I agree with everything you said pretty much.
Sure. Yeah.
Because all the things. Oh yeah, I remember what I was going to say. It's I have more and more people now that I know that are like thinking about getting a Switch or that kind of thing, and like talking about it. And I'm not like, I'm for some reason, when it's just like to generally like the people, I'm great at making that kind of content. But when somebody's asking me a specific question, like what should I buy, I feel a lot of, I think like anxiety about like not wanting them to steer them specifically the wrong direction. Because I can trust, like if I'm just making a video, I can just be like, here's the best things, but like you know yourself better. Because I legitimately don't know, you know, most of the individuals that are watching it. But when it's like, you know, if Mitch is like, would I like this game? Because there was, what was it? It was yeah. So my boss got Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and he did not like it, or maybe it was Mario plus Rabbids too. He's just not a strategy kind of game guy, and so he got it and didn't really enjoy it. But I had recommended it to him or he was like, "Do you like Mario plus Rabbids?" And I was like, "Yeah, I like it quite well," which is true. But he got it and didn't like it. So then from then, I think I felt more guilt about that. So I need to get better about that. But whatever.
I'm on the complete opposite side of the spectrum.
I know you are.
Like, I feel like I get a pretty good read of like the type of games that people like.
Yep.
Relatively quickly. Like if it's a random person and they're like, hey, what game should I buy? I'm like, I don't know, dude, I don't know you. But like I know immediately if I'm playing a game, or if I get a code for a game or whatever, I know, oh, this is a Bob game, this is a Parker game, you know, like I know. And I'm like, you're going to like this game, you're going to like it. You trust me more, it seems. But when I tell Bob, I'm like, hey, Bob, get this game, like Celeste, I had to freaking tell this man multiple times, you're gonna like Celeste, get Celeste, get Celeste, get Celeste. You want me to get you a code for Celeste? You want Celeste? You should get Celeste. And then he's like, and then he finally plays and he's like, this game is so great and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, the whole like dynamic that we got of like the evil villain like henchman sort of situation where it's like, you should do this, and he's like, that's stupid, but you know what I should do? Exactly what you just said. That is what happens constantly, where I'm like, you're going to like this game, you should get it. It's frustrating.
Crazy times. And then the last comment from this video, Will Adams Leask said, I would watch the video again if I had enough time. And you know what? It has nothing to do with the content of it, but yes, I'm all down for that. You should watch this video again, because it'll be fun for you. It's good for us. that's it. That's pretty much it for those comments. Yeah, there you go. If you guys comment on our videos, we'll pull some of them out. Mine have to be within the first couple hours for the most part, because we record a couple hours after the video goes up most weeks.
Yep.
But there you go. And now the last bit, which usually takes just about as long as anything else, is our Q&A section. So here we go. We've got some comments from last week and then some questions from you guys and all of that. Here we go. Yeah. DTY comments. This is comments from last week's podcast. Chris Garrett, said the Muffin Man's last name is Man, or it doesn't have a last name. Unsure.
See, that's the comment I was looking for. I thought everybody was going to say like a name, but I was looking for Man.
Nice.
That's the answer. That's his name. His name is the Muffin Man. That's his name.
Is Muffin his middle name? Is
yes.
V his first name? Oh, wow.
Yes.
All this time. I mean, so whenever anybody talks about like, yeah, I'm going to go talk to the man, like, don't let the man hold you down. Really, they're talking about the Muffin Man.
Exactly.
This whole time. Chris, thank you for enlightening us. Seven says the Muffin Man doesn't have a last name because he's a symbol. We are all the Muffin Man, which means that he is the evil, that even if the evil bagel empress killed him, another would rise in his place, so he can never truly die.
You know what? That's also true. You know, there are many truths.
I don't know what the bagel empress is, if that's from something or if it's just part of the new lore of the Muffin Man, but I love it either way.
Obviously, the counterpart to muffins.
True.
Duh. Because, like, if you're getting breakfast, dude, like, you either get a muffin or a bagel, and muffins are better, you know? Because, like, you can only get good bagels in, like, New York.
Yeah.
You know? Everywhere else got garbage bagels, you know?
True stuff, you know. Harry Hoffert says, I'd like to add, and we had a question about jams or preserves last time, and Harry Hoffert said, I'd like to add butters to the jam/preserves/jellies conversation. Peach butter, pumpkin butter, apple butter, etc., etc. Fanatics Foods. #Fanatics Foods, rather.
So I like skimmed that when I was reading it, and I read peach butter as peanut butter, and I was like, is that the same thing?
Probably not.
So butters are in the conversation.
Yeah, I like apple butter. I've had that some, and it's pretty good. I've never had peach butter or pumpkin butter, but I will also say something that sounds gross, just the word. So lemon curd sounds like the most disgusting thing, but it's pretty much it's like lemon jelly sort of, you know, or whatever. But curd is the grossest word. Like, it almost makes me not want to like it just because that word's so gross.
Cheese curds.
Also don't want to like those because the word's so gross. Have you ever had cheese curds?
For poutine, yes.
Oh, there you go. I've never had poutine. I've never been to Canada. I need to go to Canada sometime.
How dare you, dude?
Need to go visit Patrick Green, right?
Exactly, man.
Pretty sure he's in Canada.
Patrick Green, give us a comment about cheese curds.
Maybe they're not everywhere in Canada. I don't know. I mean, it's like a Wisconsin thing, right?
I think it's like a Quebec thing. But, like, I think most like, because, you know, like, there's Philly cheesesteaks.
Yeah.
But, like, most places in America has, like, some, like, approximation of Philly cheesesteaks.
Yep.
I think it's probably like that, you know?
Yeah.
Because, like, even we have, like, you can get poutine at, like, restaurants in America, but it's, like, not real.
I mean,
poutine.
I'm in the South, so I cannot get poutine at restaurants. I mean, there's a restaurant, I'm sure.
I guarantee there's a restaurant somewhere within, like, a 20-mile radius of you that has poutine.
If nothing else than just somebody's house where they're just making it for fun. So there you go. Yep. All right. And then the last comment from D2Y last week is GPimp01 says, considering that Breath of the Wild is a 3D reimagining of the original Legend of Zelda and every single other 3D Zelda, with the possible exception of Majora's Mask, is a 3D version of A Link to the Past, would you be interested in a 3D imagining of Zelda 2, which is an ARPG featuring stats and spells and where most of Link's aerials are from?
No. That's like
interesting.
That sounds like very anti-me. Like, then I gotta freaking do like
so like a platinum Zelda something like that. That would be interesting. I mean, I love Zelda, so I'm down. Like, that would be,
I'm not, man.
I'll take what I can get, you know?
I don't want to do menus. I don't want Zelda to be even more of an RPG.
If it replaces Breath of the Wild 2, no. But, like, or, I mean, the real question is,
once,
as long as it's not what Hyrule Warriors already is, because I'm not really into that.
That's true.
So, yeah. Musou games, that kind of idea, I'm not into. But yeah, if like just an ARPG with Link, boy, Zelda, I'm down. Personally,
yeah, man.
And spells and stuff, and leveling up.
I'll try it. I'll probably not like it. It'll probably be how many games did I have on that list? It'll probably be like numbered.
I think like 7 or so. Yeah. So it would be
probably be. Well, I think it's pretty hard to be below Hyrule Warriors. I think that's as low as it gets.
Yeah.
So
I never even tried Hyrule Warriors, if I'm being honest, because I just knew it wasn't for me off the bat.
You played Hyrule Warriors before. You tapped the X button before. It's the same thing.
I did try. I think at one of the Target demo units had maybe Fire Emblem Warriors, so I tried that out.
You definitely played it then.
So I played a minute or two of that, and I was like, "That's just not." Yeah, I'm just not. I mean,
they have like some Zelda elements where it's like they got the song and you found a chest and like that, but like ultimately it's the same game.
Yeah, that stuff. Continuing on with this comment, I think a bow and arrow character from Smash would be cool. That's why I wanted Decidueye over Incineroar as the new Pokemon.
Yeah, I think Decidueye would have been better because we already got fire types, dude. We don't need another one. True. We got freaking Charizard.
Yep. I mean, Incineroar is fun in the idea that he's like a wrestler and that's a new kind of character. I mean, but so would have been Decidueye as like, you know, a arrow character.
An archer. Yeah.
That's
an arrow character.
That show, you know, that cartoon called Arrow Character.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
I mean, there's a show called Arrow.
That's true. I was thinking of Archer, which I have I've heard is great from a lot of friends.
Does that even have anything to do with archers?
Oh, no, not at all. I think his last name's Archer, maybe.
Yeah.
One of my friends really likes that, and so I need to give it a shot. I started watching BoJack
That's another
Horseman
show
a while
that
back.
I've partially consumed through memes. Never saw a single episode.
Nope.
So
here you go. Things and stuff. And then moving along with this comment, it says Death Stranding seems to be comparable to Shadow of the Colossus in the sense that the horrible gameplay is intentional. The difference is that Shadow of the Colossus is over in 8 hours, whereas Death Stranding has over 8 hours of cutscenes, I assume. So that.
I think it's pretty different because like the gameplay of Death Stranding feels like it. I mean, not Death Stranding, of Shadow of the Colossus feels like it does because it's like, oh, you're like, this is a cumbersome situation. You're like climbing up this giant thing, and like, whereas Death Stranding, I mean, there's really no way to make walking and just walking fun.
Yeah,
you know. So it's like. It's just not a thing that you, or at least I want to work for.
Yeah,
you know, because like even walking in real life is like I'm just walking. So like, why would I want to take that experience and then make it cumbersome?
Yep. I mean, yeah, it's because walking in real life, like, so I in high school, like after graduation, a bunch of my friends went to like on a senior trip or whatever. I say my friends. I wasn't like I was one of those kids in high school where I was like I was friends with everybody, but not like super close with really anybody besides like my two friends that I was really good friends with. Same. One of it which went to another school, and another which was in the year below me, and another which was in the year above me. So
same.
But yeah, in my class, like I didn't have anybody that I was like super tight with. So they all went to high school. I was in Belgium at the time. They all went on a senior trip to Turkey, and it was like beaches and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I don't really want to do any of that. So my sister and I went on a hike pilgrimage kind of thing in Spain. And so it was, I think, like 192 miles or something in 13 days. So it was lots and lots of walking. So like, as far as walking goes, like I've got a pretty good experience of within those 13 days. There was a lot of it. But even then, like during that, the walking, A, there was conversation, B, there was music if I wanted it, or like just thinking and looking at the sights. Like that's a thing. Whereas in a game, you have to be like just paying attention to what's going on in here. And it's like, if you're trying to walk to like make sure gameplay things don't happen, like dropping a baby and all that kind of stuff, then it's harder, I think, to get lost in thought and be cathartic and stuff like that, because like you're paying attention to what you're doing in the game rather than, kind of like making somebody else walk instead of just walking yourself. So yeah, I'm with you. It's not really. But then again, I don't know what all the gameplay is like. I'd be curious to see, when people have actual impressions of it, if there's more to it than just walking.
I don't think that there's going to be actual impressions. I think the bulk of the impressions are going to be either that this isn't fun, this is a game about walking, or it's going to be like, the game's not fun, but it's a Kojima game, so
right.
I'm going to say that it's good, Like,
yeah.
Just because people like his weird mind. They're like, I'm down, dude. It's a great game.
Yeah. Man,
just give it, like, I'm all in for like artistic expression and all that good stuff, but like, give me a movie. Why you gotta make a game? Because like, games are fun.
Yeah, I think that's the idea. I'm pretty sure he even said something to the effect, there was some interview or something like that, where he said I'm gonna go do movies.
Right, but the thing that's frustrating about that is I don't want to have to play through 40 hours of your games that want to be movies to get to that movie. Like,
right.
Just get some investment capital or something and make the movie.
Yep.
Instead of making me have to pay
the question
for
is,
your final form.
Knowing you, AJ, would you even watch the movie since you don't
Possibly.
watch that much stuff?
I mean, like, I'm less likely to watch a movie if it's just like a Netflix situation, but like,
Right.
I'll go to a place and watch a thing.
Okay, yeah, that's true. You're just not super into shows, I guess, is the main thing. Makes sense.
It's like, if I have access to all options available to me in my domain, I'm not going to pick sitting there and just watching things. I want to play a game because then I can also listen to something else. Like, I want to maximize my time, you know?
I know what you mean. Like, I almost feel bad about that sometimes. Like, I feel like I'm not properly enjoying something, but I don't know, who cares? Like, it's just fun. I like watching The Office and playing an RPG or something where it's like,
for me, I feel like I know like a lot of people will say stuff like that and be like, man, you're not like really like consuming stuff. Like, it's not like people don't just sit with themselves anymore or whatever. But like, I feel like if I just did that, I would enjoy it less because I'm thinking about all the other stuff that I could be doing and getting taken care of in the meantime.
Especially if it's a part of the game where it's like repetitive gameplay kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for example, playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2, that was a big game where like I would, watch something with it, but then pause the thing, watch the cutscene for a while, and then be done with the cutscene. And like, the fights in it were like, you definitely had to do some thinking here and there, but it was like fairly, I don't know, like, it would be 30 seconds between times that you had to like really think about something, and it was that kind of thing. So like, it's it's pretty much just grinding for a lot of it. During the actual
like that's
fighting
how
parts.
it was for Fire Emblem or even Luigi's Mansion for me, right? It's like I'll be listening to music or something, and then when a cutscene turns on, I pause the music and I listen to the cutscene, and I'm like, all right, that's done. Now I can play the game and continue to listen to music or podcasts or whatever.
Yeah. So that's stuff. But and then the last part of his comment is, AJ or Parker, do you want a shiny Grumpig? I got 2 of them.
I'm down.
Yeah.
In which game? I got Ultra Sun. Well,
I guess the question is, would we even be able to get shiny Grumpig in Sword and Shield? We're gonna find out. Who's to say?
I mean, I'll put it in Pokemon Home if I can't.
That's true. We still don't know. It's what, first half of next year, early 2020 is what they said for Pokemon Home.
I think early 2020. I don't know. Maybe like January. It was like on my birthday for Pokemon Bank.
Oh, that's fun. Good job. Great. Good old December 27th, right?
Good time. Yeah, good time.
And then, coming on to the regular Q&A bits, we got from the YouTube community tab. We asked you told, or then you asked us. Meeb said, this isn't really a question, it's just a thing. I got beat up by 2 Terrys yesterday online. I called them the Terry Terrors. Good stuff.
I did say questions, comments, and concerns.
Oh, well, there you go.
This is a comment and also concern.
That's definitely a concern.
I did not get beat up by... I probably lost like, I don't know, like 3 matches against Terry. I was playing with Logan and some other friends. And then I also played with Brooklyn, who's like my aunt, who comes in here sometimes. She's been on the stream before. So yeah, I was playing with her because she wants to main him.
Yep.
He's good, but like, you know, I'm Squirtle, dude. Like, this is like, what are you going to do?
I love Squirtle. Here, nobody else can see him, but you can see him. There he is up there. I mean, you've got one right back there too. I can see him on yours. Little Squirtle buds. Moving right along. Next question is from Marcos Baratelli, who says, "What's your most wanted change in the Switch?" I mean, that could go a lot of different directions.
Hardware-wise, or yeah,
I don't know. I mean, if we're, I don't know if this counts, but like, if N64 being in the like NSO, I don't think that counts. But like, that would be dope. But otherwise, if it's just like, as far as form factor kinds of things, or software and all that, like, I guess the main things. For other people,
figures the Joy-Con.
Yeah, exactly. Joy-Con drift for other people for the hardware bits, and then folders for me. Either one of those two things, depending on what kind of answer you're looking for. Those two things.
Yeah, I don't really care about that. I'd be down for more like systems in the eShop and stuff like that. Or eShop,
that's true. Yeah,
like Switch Online and stuff like that.
Yep.
I want to see what. I don't have anything specific because like I don't need Nintendo Switch Online to be like a copy of Xbox and PlayStation's online solutions.
Right.
But I want to see what their take on that is. So I want to see more like features and experiments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Want them to hurry up with adding more stuff like that.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Good question. Yeah, just give me folders, y'all. I would like them. Just look at my hard drive. You can't see my hard drive, but it's got 2 trillion folders, and I like it. Griffin X asked, since Ori and Cuphead are now on the Switch, which PlayStation indie would you like to see ported over?
Indie?
I can't really think of any off the top of my head besides, I guess, Medieval isn't really one, but it's like a sort of, kind of one.
Yeah.
And
the only like indie-ish PlayStation game I can even think of is Tearaway.
Yeah.
And I don't really care about that. And Knack kind of, but Knack isn't. It's definitely not an indie.
Yeah.
So I don't know. If it was like I would rather some of the like Horizon Zero Dawn. I'd be okay with that coming to Switch. Even though when I did play that, I was like annoyed that it wasn't Breath of the Wild. Honestly,
yeah.
I was like, yeah, like I don't want to like. I can clearly, if this was Breath of the Wild, I would be able to climb up this part, but I gotta like meander through it, or meander through it.
Yep.
And it's like it's not fun, but yeah, like give me something like that.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't even know enough of them to be able to say, because I don't really think it doesn't seem like...
there's an indie-ish game I know, Resogun, that's on the PlayStation. Put that on Switch.
Yeah.
It's like an arcade shooter,
cool
spaceship man game,
nice. I do, obviously, by my tone and my face. And now some questions from Discord. Last week we had to cut a little bit short, which I mean it was still 2.5 hours, but that was because we had technical issues and stuff, which are going great this time. Not to jinx it or whatever. So we got some questions from Discord from last week. Huddy Bear asked, "What did y'all think of Luigi's Mansion 3?"
I think it's good. It's a fun game.
Yep, I'm like 2 hours into it or so. So who's to say so far? But no, yeah, it's a fun time. It looks great. It plays. I definitely understand what you mean. Last week you'd been playing it for a little bit, getting the controls right for the right stick, figuring out that it doesn't. It's not relative to you. It's just a direction on the screen. Like, because usually, if you're Luigi or you're a character and you press it to the left, your character will turn left, regardless of what, irrespective, that's the word I was looking for, irrespective of the direction they're currently looking. Whereas in this, it's just about the direction that, if you point up, if he's facing down, then he'll just face up, and he stays in the back, So once I figured that out, then it's not as bad, but still, like, it's a bit clunky to figure
It's
that
the
part
buttons.
out.
It's just the buttons for me. Like, controlling Luigi himself is whatever, but like the buttons makes everything out of whack. If they just mapped everything to the triggers, I feel like it would feel better.
Everything
but
except
since
for
you can do all of it, but it's just the ability to do both on both is weird.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think so, because the only one that you can't map to anything is the like the X-ray one or whatever.
No, you can do that too.
The X button. Oh,
yeah, it's both triggers.
That's right.
There's like you can literally do everything on the triggers, but it's just like out of muscle memory. A lot of times I'll pick one option and then I'll be using the analog for whatever thing, and it just feels awkward to play it like that. And then I'll have to stop doing what I'm doing and then change to the triggers.
It makes you wonder why they didn't just tell you in the first place, like, oh, it's just the trigger and that's it, and they never even told you about the other option. Yeah, it seems like it'd be easier that way. But I'd be interested to play in the like scare scraper mode or whatever, with it just the one Joy-Con on its side. How that, I assume that just means, you know, like you can turn off in the setting the whole, like if you're vacuuming up, the direction you're walking doesn't change the direction you're vacuuming stuff up. But I think I'd imagine probably that's just, they just made it to where when you're playing with just the one Joy-Con, the direction you're facing is the direction you're vacuuming. Probably. I don't know. So, but yeah, overall, seems like a fun game. I'll let you know when I'm more done with it. But right now, it doesn't seem like it's my game of the year or anything like that, but I'm enjoying it quite a bit. So, yeah. Another question from Honey Bear says, do you think the Switch will ever outsell the PS4?
I think that depends on how they'll define Switch moving forward. Because, like, if we end up getting another, like, the Nintendo swap, like, is it a Game Boy Color situation where Game Boy and Game Boy Color is just one thing?
Yeah.
If that's the case, I think it'll handily outsell PlayStation 4, like, by at least 10 million units. Just by the nature of handhelds. Like, if you look at, with the exception of 3DS, and I think that's mostly timing, pretty much every Nintendo handheld is over 100 million copies, or units sold. I think Switch will be no exception, especially as we move forward and like with the existence of Switch Lite, a $100 Switch, you know, like just walking into a store buying a $100 Switch, that's way closer than what I would have expected. And once we get to that point, Switch is going to sell way more. It doesn't matter what other consoles are out than it currently is. So I think that it'll hit that 100 million plus mark relatively easily. And how they quantify it and when they update it and upgrade it with another generation or whatever will depend. Will decide whether or not it'll like completely destroy it in that regard. It's like if we're talking like sales aligned, it's still beating it by millions of units. like to date sales and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think, I mean, just in general too, that even if what comes after the Switch is more different and is completely unrelated to the Switch and all that, and you know, isn't the swap that continues on like the Game Boy Color did or anything.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even mean it like that. I just mean like, will their sales technically compound?
Right. Yeah. So I think, I mean, it depends a little bit on what the overall lifespan of the Switch is. Like if they feel like they have to move on from the Switch somewhat rapidly, like within 5 years or something like that, then and it gets counted as something completely new after that, then no. But if they don't, if it's more like a 3DS kind of lifespan, which is insane in the first place, then probably definitely so. I would think. So I think especially considering all the options, I think it's just about for sure that it will, but it's just what that looks like. And so they could make some weird choices that would make it not. That's definitely possible too, but I think most likely.
Because, I mean, all things considered, we're less than 3 years in, and they're already just under halfway to 100 million.
Yeah, right, exactly. I mean, like by the end of December, we're 100% going to be over 50 million. So, yeah. And then again, once the Switch Lite really picks up steam and all that, it's gonna be crazy. Lethal asked, I know we frackin' talk ports all the time. I subbed that out. But with Luigi's Mansion 3, some people think 2 should make a port over. Would this be a smart idea? And what's something other than Pokemon on 3DS that could use a port to Switch? Hey, look, we kind of talked about that.
Hey, lucky for you, I did a whole video about that before even seeing this comment. So yes. And there was a whole video of games that I think they should do.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I think this would be one. If they bring it over, I don't think they should do like remastered for this. Well, I mean, like kind of remastered. Like a minor.
I don't think they need to completely remake it. Just do what they did. And I guess maybe just make it look like Luigi's Mansion 3, and that's about it.
I mean, or even, just don't have it be a $60, just a $30 game or something like that.
Or be $60 and have both of them.
Yeah, that's also true. So I think if they bring it over, there's a couple different ways they could do it, but they could make it like an eShop kind of a game and do pretty minimal effort on it. And that would be good because it wouldn't really jeopardize or bastardize any sales from Luigi's Mansion 3 as well. I don't think they're going to do it for a long time, but
I mean, they could.
Yeah. So there you go. And then Grim Haynes says, speaking of the 3DS, even deniers have to realize it's on its deathbed. How much longer do you think Nintendo will drag it out by continuing producing the 2DS? Through next year, as far as Bowser says.
This is still from last week?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, we got an answer to that, Grimhane. I don't understand it, but, I'm not looking at Nintendo's books like they are, so...
I think they'll make an announcement. Yeah, I'm guessing April of next year, they're going to make the announcement. They're like, all right, we're, going to let the 3DSs that are out sell out, and then we're not going to make any more, would be my guess. Because that just makes sense. Because, at this point, it's still making them some free money, but it's going to make them a lot less now that the Switch Lite is out and, kind of has bridged that gap, as we said earlier. Gap to the bridge, whatever.
Yep.
And then also Grimhane asked, dark theme or light theme?
Dark theme.
Dark theme. Because too often I'll wake up in the morning feeling like P. Diddy. No, I'll wake up in the morning and open up my phone and I'm like dead because it's too bright. So the more I can do to change that, the better.
For a while, depending on what the site was, it took me a while to be like, yeah, I'll go to dark theme. Just because I was so used to what the site looked like in light theme. But once I changed one thing, it was just a domino effect.
Yeah, exactly. At that point, I'm just like, I'll just change dark theme and get used to it.
Yeah, the freaking, I don't know, one time a month, I spend any time on Facebook. It would be weird if that was in dark theme. But eventually, if they let me do it, I'll do it.
Yep. True stuff. Then continuing on, Patar35, this is still from last week, asks, what's going to be in the November Direct?
How dare you? It's my trigger word to say the blank direct. I think that we're not going to get one, just for that.
Just because of that comment.
I think we're never going to see a direct again.
Somebody asked a question about this. Oh, it's Bianca Wicks asked a question on Twitter. Just wanted to ask if you think a direct is still coming, because at this stage, even if it did, it would probably be too late for more Pokemon news, and that's really all I care about right now. Yeah, I think...
Yeah, I don't know if we'll get any more. Because Bob thinks that we'll probably get a Pokemon Direct or something like that. I don't know if you want to do
I don't think we'll get a Direct. I think we'll get a final trailer. And it'll be
but they already also did that.
Yeah,
they did. They didn't do it here. But they did an overview trailer in the UK or something. Would they update that overview trailer? I don't know.
Yeah. Who's to say? I think there's a chance that they could... still in the nick of time announce the starter evolutions. That's all I could see, because otherwise I was thinking for sure if there was going to be a November Direct, it's not a general Direct. It would be a Smash Direct kind of thing, except for not for Smash but for Pokemon. So I was thinking that would probably happen. But yeah, with just a week left, that seems less likely, but I could still see a big trailer happening, I suppose, if something's going to happen. But as far as an actual direct that announces lots of games, no. That's
I think
the September one was the last one for the year.
Yeah, I think we're waiting on January for that one.
Yep.
Probably.
For the January Direct, of course.
Yeah, for the January Direct.
Yep. And then we actually answered this question last week, but again, since it was from last week, favorite Halloween candy? And we gave you some answers. So there you go.
Did we? I don't know. I don't remember.
We did. Well, it wasn't
Twix.
to this. It wasn't to Patara's question specifically, but somebody else asked the same thing, and we answered that one.
Okay, yeah. I like Twix. I probably said something different then, because like I'm not huge on candy.
Yeah.
But like, I like Twix.
Well, when people give beef jerky, that's my favorite. I will say one that I thought of after the fact is there's a Haribo candy that they have.
Oh yeah.
You can only get. I mean, there's like a decent amount of Haribo candy you can get in the States, and especially if you go to like World Market or whatever. But there's one that we can't get. It's called Dragibus or whatever, and I like it a lot, and you can't get it here. And I looked it up on Amazon to be like, could I just get a bag on Amazon? It's like $9 for a regular candy bag. Like, there is no way I'm doing that because it's just candy, but it's good.
I feel like there's like, because there's like, like nerd stores and stuff, and they have like a lot of Haribo candy. Probably if you go to, but then again, I mean like, well, no, you're freaking like they got like, well, then again, no. I'm having an internal debate.
You sure are.
You're like within decent distance from like Nashville, but then I was
like 30 minutes from Nashville.
It's not really like a New York sort of thing.
No, I mean it's like definitely bigger than it used to be, but it's got more like cool hipster places compared to like just being a big metropolis or whatever. Right. So and lots of apartments. It's just a lot of apartments
and Haribo candies,
So Yep, none of that stuff.
So you can't get as much cool stuff.
Yeah. But moving on to this week, 2 questions from Discord from this week. Mega Man 087 asks, with the release of Pokemon this week, what are you most excited for?
The wild area.
Yeah, 100% the wild area. Also, maybe the story stuff, because it seems like maybe it could be better than it had been in other ones or something like that. Seems like it could be fun. But yeah, mostly the wild area and Pokemon that I've missed out on.
Like, I'm always interested in like figuring out like what's the direction for this and how is it going to be and like what characters am I going to meet and are Pokemon going to be cool and all that stuff. But I think the wild area is just like going to be like the story of that game.
Yeah.
Not literally, but like what that game has to offer.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because like that'll be something that affects your experience even after you get into the post game and like all that crap. So definitely wild area.
The thing I'm a little nervous about with the wild area is just how dare you. I hope it's not like I don't know, kind of bland or something like that. You know what I mean? Where it's like,
why would it be bland? Are you dumb? It's called a wild area, not the bland area.
It's crazy up in there. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think the thing that seems odd about it to me was like in watching the gameplay or whatever, they'd be walking around an area and there's like 23 Wingles just like around, in one spot, which something about that feels a little bit like there being too many of them where it's not like, I don't know. I'm curious what that'll feel like.
I doubt that it's going to stay that way. I think it's probably going to be like, possibly even more so, like varied than like how Pokemon Let's Go is.
Yeah.
I think that the main reason why they did that is because they don't want to reveal every Pokemon that's in the game.
That's true.
So they give you a certain amount, and then they're like, "Oh, this is like how populated the area will be, but we don't want to give away all the Pokemon that will be."
That definitely makes sense. I think that's the thing is like I would like there to be just the right amount of Pokemon. Like there's definitely kind of a spectrum there where it could be too sparse where you're walking around, it's like, where even are the Pokemon? I mean, again, like if it felt like, again, Xenoblade Chronicles 2's kind of big open areas, that felt like a perfect amount of, stuff. So if it could be something like that, where finding new Pokemon in there is like really exciting, then that's top notch. So that's what I'm hoping for. Yeah. And then Grimhane, last question from Discord. Grimhane asks, how do you think Nintendo could best improve the eShop so it was easy to find quality games? And then sour or sweet was another question, and I started to ask that too. But it's a separate question.
Put our videos on there.
True. You're so right. I
Hey,
think
we're brand ambassador. I'm a brand ambassador, you know?
I am not.
So put us on, at least on the news feed or something, you know?
As far as like, yeah, them improving the eShop, I think some kind of rating system, if it was done well, would be really helpful.
Yeah.
Just kind of, you know, some way that you could, I don't know.
Machine learning, dude.
Yeah.
Give us machine learning. If I played a game that's like a game, right? Recommend me other games that are like a game, you know?
That is
You know
so
what I'm saying?
accurate. Yes.
Like if I play freaking Pokemon, dude, recommend me Yokai Watch, you know?
I think that kind of stuff. I mean, some stuff that, you know, that's Steam does that kind of thing, to my understanding. Which like maybe it does it poorly and there's too much stuff on Steam as well, blah blah blah, and like it's not super well done. But like there's definitely some features from that like as simplified as the eShop is right now, they could just add some features, and as long as they're curated well, then it could be really helpful. So I think ratings or like recommendations.
Even that, like hire people to curate it.
Yeah.
And
Shouldn't
I
be
don't
that
mean
hard.
like on a systems. I mean, obviously, I mean they could probably also do that, but like have like a freaking like they used to do with Nintendo, the Nintendo Power magazine.
Yeah, right.
Have somebody that plays these games and is like, these are the ones that we recommend. These are the good ones.
Yep. And I mean, especially because, you know, they'll, in the Nintendo Power podcast, for example, they'll be like, here's the games coming out this month, or like the eShop download or something like that. But really, that's just almost always, I don't know.
The games that are coming out that are like big games.
The
whatever. It's
indie
not
games
like,
and the Nintendo games and stuff like that. Like you're not going to find hidden gems and that kind of stuff.
Right.
And I don't know. So like those kinds of things would be really nice for that to be able to go through.
Yeah, like have like, even if they did like a team of like content creators.
Yeah.
That's like the indie team, like the guys that are like, we recommend you the best indie games, and we recommend you the best RPGs, and we recommend you the best, you know, that sort of situation. Because I mean, ultimately, it's preferable, I'd assume, to most people to have like a human connection with the whole situation. Be like, oh, this person played this game and they liked it, and they like other games that are like this, and this, and I agree with that. It's the same reason why many of you are subscribed to youtube.com/Fanatics4, because maybe you disagree with our take on games, but you understand what our take on games is. Yeah. So you can like, it's a barometer to whether or not you're going to like a given game that we're playing for whatever reason. You know.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that's any kind of thing that just feels a little bit more actively curated would be really good. So, that stuff. And then he also asks, sour or sweet?
Sour.
Hey, that's what I said.
Yeah, because like if I'm not big, again, I say this all the time, but like, and we talk about food a lot, but like, I'm not big on snacks. But if I'm going to get a snack and it's like, hey, what do you want for a snack? I'm probably going to get like gummy worms or something.
Yeah. I just like sour things because they're good.
Yeah, man.
I mean, it's usually, though, sour includes sweet. Like, I don't know that there's a lot of stuff that's just
true.
sour. Like, even lemons are like that. They're also pretty sweet, but they're just very sour. But I do like lemons.
When I think this, with this comparison, it's like, would you rather have like a cookie or like a Jolly Rancher or something? You know?
Yeah. Yeah, because cookies are really sour. So there you go.
Yeah, obviously.
And then, moving last of all, we got the Twitter questions. We already read Bianca's comment, which was about the Nintendo Direct. But yeah, I don't think there's going to be one other than maybe just a little Pokemon one, would be my guess. In November, at least, or really for the end of the year, you know, for the rest of the year at this point. They just doubt there's going to be anything. But maybe come January, we'll see some stuff. So that would be cool. Striker XL asks, do you guys collect Pokemon trading cards? If yes, what is the best series to collect for and why?
No, but I don't.
I do, kind of.
Parker does.
Yep.
But we might have something for that coming up.
Some close mic talking. That's what it's about.
Currently, no.
Yep. So I've got a pretty strong, I've got a very strong Gen 1 collection. It's not completely full, but I've got like probably 95% of base, jungle, and fossil, each of those. And then I've got a decent amount of the like Team Rocket and Gym Leader ones, but not that much of those. So like as far as Gen 1 goes, like just the way original ones, I'm pretty full on, and then a bunch of the other ones, pretty much just imagine all the gens going forward and there's less and less for each gen. And at this point, as far as collecting stuff, I'll just pick up booster packs here and there. And like at Target especially, they have sometimes ones where it's not like a specific series. It's just like, here's 20 random Pokemon cards. Some of them will be new, some of them will be old. And it's just like they pulled them out of their warehouse. And instead of there being like 11 with the standard kind of setup of one holographic rare and then, you know, some uncommons and stuff like that, there'll still be a holographic. Although sometimes it's the stupid thing where it's like, this is a Weedle, but it's holographic where the card is shiny. Like, instead of having the picture be shiny, that's dumb and makes me mad. If it's not a rare holographic, it's not worth it.
Did they when did they start doing like the full art cards? Because I know that's not like a Gen 1 thing.
Yeah, no, that's, you mean like the EX cards and those kinds of things?
Yeah.
I want to say that's probably, I don't know, I'd fallen off for a while. I want to say that's probably Gen 5, maybe.
Those ones are cool.
Yeah.
Like if I was want to collect Pokemon cards, like just give me the full arts, man. Anybody got Pokemon cards that they want to give me for like a PAX or like too many games, just give me those ones. Cool.
I said this on Twitter and I'll say it here again. My goal and dream is, like Mitch, for example, my friend has Pokemon cards somewhere at his parents' house in his attic, and he looked for them one day kind of and couldn't find them, but he was like, yeah, man, if I find them, like, they're all yours, I don't care. That's my dream, is all of my friends that have them somewhere in their attic and don't care about them at all, them to give them to me, because like it's just more fun.
So
that
we
way.
talked about a thing that maybe will involve youtube.com/4. So like I want to amend that. Can I like take the cool full art ones that I want?
Absolutely. You mean like between the two of us or whatever?
Yeah.
Yes. I mostly right now. So to the second part of your question, Striker, and this is related now, is like what's the best series to collect for and why? I think kind of like Bob and Will say a lot on the Wolf Den as far as like collecting retro games or something like that. Pick one thing and just collect that. Like it doesn't really matter what it is, but like for me, I'd like to get a full collection of base, fossil, and jungle. Like if I had a full set of all those, that would be really nice. And like I very easily could at this point if I just invested probably like $100, because like some of the cards will be like $10 and others will be like $2 or something. So if there's like 10 cards across there, at least $100 is plenty. But it's just not as much fun for me to collect those, you know, like going on eBay and buying them that way. So like it would be more fun to get them other ways. But I think like for that, if you just pick one series that you really like, so like, you know, this Gen 7 series or this Gen 8 series or something like that, and just go with that, then I think that's the best way to do it. And ideally, whatever one's the most current, because that'll be the most ubiquitous and cheapest to find a lot of them. So you can do it that way. That would be my thoughts. And give all your full art cards to AJ and give all your old cards to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I support that.
Moving along. Alex Kumba Koopa says, do you think another Pokemon game will be released on Switch?
Yes.
100%.
100%. I would be shocked if we don't get at least one per year.
Yeah. I mean, I think we'll probably get the same kind of situation as X and Y, Sun and Moon, you know, Ruby and Sapphire. Well, no. Things, whatever.
Well, yeah, that's what it was on that. Well, it was you skipped them and went back.
Yeah.
No, it was X and Y, Ruby and Sapphire, then Sun and Moon.
Yeah. So that's stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think for sure we'll get, you know, kind of the evolution of this, like the more refined version of Gen 8, like Gen 9 on Switch is what I think.
I think it's going to be the same release schedule. I think we'll get Gen 8, and then we'll get Gen 4 remakes, and then we'll get another Gen 8 game, and then maybe, you know, like another remake possibly, and then the next generation.
Yep. But yeah, I think that'll probably come out towards the end of the lifespan of the Switch, if that's what it looks like. Or depending on revisions, maybe it's not towards the end of the lifespan. Who's to say? But yeah, I think there's a good chance. And I think we've said it on here before, but I'm pretty sure all the Pokemon will show up on one of those other games. Even though they kind of
collectively, I think collectively at the end of it all, we'll have all the all the Pokemon available on Switch in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I suppose so. Duncan Ketchison, who just joined our Discord. Hey, join our Discord if you haven't already.
You should join our Discord too.
Said, I'm super curious about y'all's stances and hype levels on Death Stranding, just because it's the furthest thing possible from a Nintendo game, theme, gameplay, and setting wise.
I talked about it a little bit. I don't think you're as passionately against this game as I am, but I'm very
pretty passionately
anti-interested.
Apathetic. If that's
I'm passionately
anything.
against this game. I think that is stupid that people are like, just because it's a Kojima game, that it's like the best thing in the world. I just don't like that. I don't think that's healthy.
Yeah.
to like just swear by something because a specific person made it, regardless of if it's good or not. Like, please, if I come out with a video that you don't like, don't act like you like it just because I made it.
Yeah. Because honestly, I feel like that's what burns you out on a person or a thing or whatever, to be honest, is like, if you keep like keeping up appearances or whatever, that's a Max shout out. But if you have to like keep up appearances and like be like, oh, it's so good. Yeah. Like that's going to be the thing that eventually you're going to be like, I just don't want to put in the energy to pretend, so it would be better to just be like, nah, that's kind of weird and not good, and then go from there.
And if you like it, you like it. That's fine.
Yeah, totally.
But I just know that there's so many people that their impressions clearly say they don't like this game, but because it's a Kojima thing, they kind of gotta like it, and it's just like...
Yeah, and like maybe they're just really bad at verbalizing it, and it's like, I do like it, but I don't have the words to describe in what way I do, because it's not in any kind of gameplay type way. But at the same time... like that makes it hard to recommend to other, like giving it a 95 or whatever, when you're like, I really personally liked this game, but I don't think anybody else really should.
10 out of 10. But this game, it's not that great, but like 10 out of 10 though.
Yeah. So I mean, again, I think it's totally fine if somebody's really engaged with the story and enjoys all of that, and like, the walking parts are cathartic and blah blah blah, something like that's great, cool. I'm down, but it just definitely sounds like it's not the kind of game for everybody. It would not be the kind of game, I don't think, for me. And it doesn't matter because I don't have a PS4 anyway, so I'm not going to be getting it.
Rip, dude.
Yeah, and I've just got a little laptop for PC, so even when it comes out to PC, still not getting it. Casual Verse, good bud. Casual Verse says, question of the year: when are you inviting Casual Verse back?
I don't know. That's not how this show works, man. People usually tell me, they're like, hey, I got this time open. I can be on the podcast. And I'm like, all right, we'll make it work. You know?
The only times we really go out and ask people are if it's a specific topic, I guess, or one of us is gone.
Yep.
Which happens.
Yep.
True. And then question of the century: what do you think of YouTube changes? Will it affect Nintendo channels by saying they're for children by mistake? Is this the end, beautiful friends? What? Is this the beautiful end, friends? I'm guessing.
I don't think that the YouTube changes are going to be that big of a deal for most channels that do stuff like what we do, because it's like your demo's available to them. So like if your demo is mostly adults, then you're fine. I think that if you use a lot of like metadata that is very clearly like specifically a kid's thing, then you might be in trouble. I think us specifically are definitely fine because even if they classified us as a kids channel, there's nothing on our channel that's not kid friendly, and that's pretty intentional. It's kind of like a Good Mythical Morning sort of situation where it's not for kids, but it's not.
But if kids stumbled upon it, it'd be like, cool, whatever, no big deal.
Yeah, exactly, right.
Yep. It is funny looking at our metadata and stuff where I think it's like 1%, whatever the young, like 13 and younger or some, or like 0 to 12 or, 0.5% or something like that. And then, most, I think our strongest is like 25 to 34 or something like that. But it's always funny seeing like, we've got like 1%, 65 plus or something like that.
I think it's even more than that. It's like our demo for like 65 plus is almost, if not more, what our 13 to 17
I think it is. Oh, totally.
Whatever.
Yeah. Which I I've got to wonder if that's like family of mine or something, like, you know, like family of ours that's like watching it being like, oh, I mean, it couldn't be that much because, you know, if
I don't know. We got what, like this month we got like 600,000 views or something like that. So I don't know about that.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
Like 6,000 people.
I will say though,
or
like
whatever.
I posted on my Facebook page, you know, when the one video started going well, I posted about like, hey, look at this. This is fun. This video's got over 100,000 views and stuff. And so for the first time ever, a bunch of people that I knew was like, hey, watch that video of yours. That was really good, man. And I was like, thanks. I feel really awkward now. It's easy to post it when it's general to anybody who can see it, but talking to people about it in person is a little more awkward. Just because of who I am.
Yeah, man, you need to just be like me and not care.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good way to go about some of the stuff for sure. But I try to still just be things. I don't know. I have a hard time taking compliments from people too. Like,
you just gotta be like, hey man, I'm internet famous now. I have a 200,000 view video, dude. It's great. Give me compliments.
That's right. And then we got one last question
record,
from Twitter.
Do that, but
We got one last question from Twitter. This is from Jordan at JCeltics1994. Who said, is it okay? I'm planning on forsaking my family, job, healthy lifestyle, hobby, and any other thing taking my time so I can get down on some Pokemon.
I mean, I guess it would have to be because that's what I'm gonna do. Even though, like, kind of like, what, like 1/3 of the things you listed, I'm not neglecting.
True.
Because like, healthy lifestyle, job, and hobby. I think that's all accounted for just by playing this game.
Right, pretty much.
So,
Yep.
I think I'm good on most of it.
Yep.
But like, I don't know, like for you, I guess that it wouldn't account for that much stuff. You could probably rope your family into it somehow.
True.
Just figure out a way to like check off multiple boxes at once, dude.
It's a good way to do it. And there you go. And that's about it from us. Any last closing thoughts, AJ? We got a question for the fam.
You know, I don't have a question. No, I have a question. Cool. Would you eat green eggs and ham with Sam, or would you rather invite Frank? Because Sam's kind of a jerk, you know?
That's such a good point. I agree with all of that. And with that, thank you for doing all this stuff, listening to us jabbing on for a while. We have a really good time. Share this with your friends. Review the thing on podcast apps, because still the last one we got on the Apple Podcast Store, I think, was mine from a year ago or something like that. So, yeah, go review that. That would be fun and neat. And then whatnot. That's it.
Yep.
Have a good old
Goodbye.
time. Bye.